It's time. You've all been waiting. Starfleet Academy, Episode 1. Before I start this is going to be a complete, and I mean a complete, breakdown of the episode. More or less scene by scene. You will not need to watch the TV show after seeing this review. If you want my spoiler-free review, it's basically Starfleet High. The entire thing is anachronism. They're all speaking in modern language. It's teen drama, very little Star Trek, and it's pretty badly written with some half-decent acting. Characters that haven't established themselves yet. The characters are very hit and miss. Without the gravitas lent by the experienced actors in this, it would be probably unwatchable. With that out of the way, you can make your own determination whether you want to carry on watching this, which is going to be a complete breakdown, or whether you're going to go and just watch it yourself. It is slightly better than Section 31, which I described as worse than having a colonoscopy. So, yeah, here we go. So we start off with mother and child. They're in a room on a Federation outpost. The mother is played by Tatiana Maslany. Dad is nowhere to be seen. The child is mixed race, so obviously, because Tatiana Maslany is not black, I can only assume we have an absent black father. Great way to start off with the modern day tropes. Starfleet Academy. Avery Brooks would be mortified, seeing as he spent an entire series trying to disseminate from that trope by making Benjamin Sisko a present and active father. Nice one. She's teaching him a code to be shared between the two of them, and she says, I had to get food. Okay, fair enough. And the child goes, it's okay if you stole it, because if you saw someone stealing food, you didn't, remember? One problem with that, this is the Federation, they've got replicators. They can make food out of nothing, or as we found out in Discovery, out of like recycled shit, basically. But she's stealing food? Things are that bad that people are going hungry and stealing food? Yeah, alright, Kurtzman, whatever. There's a sandstorm, kicks off, because of course, and then the Federation turn up and kind of arrest the pair of them. And they go to trial. They literally just put some pedestals up in his room, and Holly Hunter's character comes out, and Tatiana Maslany is there. Her name's like Anisha, I think it is. And the little boy is there. And then they bring out Noose Bracker, who is like snarling. He's got like an electric collar on. They've got like goads. And oh my God. Star Trek. Everything's dark and miserable. And he's sneering and snarling. So they do the trial with Caleb being there. Like he's just sitting next to his mother. And they tell him in front of them, like that she was basically responsible for bringing down a Federation transport and killing an officer to get this food in a place where they've got replicators. Okay, whatever. So she's basically working for Paul Giamatti's gang or whatever they are, of pirates. Paul Giamatti's character, Noose Bracker, is going to get life in a penal colony, and she's going to get sent to a rehab centre. And Caleb will become a ward of the Federation, so, yeah, splitting them up. So Noose Bracker gets carried off and he's like, bye, mommy. And then he goes to Caleb, like, remember your hatred for me, it'll keep you warm at night, or something like that. I'm just like, Star Trek, yay. So he's dragged off in his shock collar with the goads and shackles and everything. Caleb's taken off to a room, and Bracker goes to see him and mumbles some stuff. So much for her speech is just mumbled at times. Face doesn't move. She genuinely sounds like she's had a stroke. And she's talking about this great school that he can go to where everything could be great and all that kind of stuff, and gives him a hug. And then he's like, oh, I dropped my bear, because he had this talking bear, and he's left it in the room where they did the trial, because they haven't met while they did the trial. And then she leaves to go and get it, and as she picks up the bear, she realises that she hasn't got a comm badge and that Caleb's nicked it when he hugged her. Go back to Caleb, and he's using the comm badge to open the window. Apparently it's got an identity. It opens the window. No voice activation, no codes. Just use a comm badge. Retarded. Anybody can steal a comm badge and use it to access systems? Anyway, he opens this window in the middle of a sandstorm and off he goes. That's it, he's gone. They can't find him. There's like alarm going off, and it pans across this horrible, ugly Federation installation. Apparently they can't scan for him. They can't beam him, get him beamed. He's gone. He's gone. Forget it. We cut to 15 years later. Caleb is a prisoner on a transport, and he's pretty hench. He's grown into a man. He's 21 now. A load of white men turn up and beat the shit out of him. I'm not even kidding. They just start on him, because they're white, I guess. So they're kicking him while he's on the floor and stuff, but he gets the upper hand and beats the shit out of all of them and takes command of the shuttle. Then he's grabbed from behind And as he's pulled away, because 1,300 years in the future from now, this ship still has a joystick, he kicks the joystick and puts the shuttle into a crash bin. Not kidding. This is what happens. So the shuttle's crashing into stuff in an entirely unconvincing way. And, of course, he beats up the guy, grabbed him, and recovers the shuttle. You get, like, the cliche. It's like you're going to crash into a mountain, yeah? You can go either side of it, or you can pull up in that kind of, we're just going to make it against the building or mountain's edge kind of way. What do you think they do, gang? Of course, they do the cliche pull up. So he does the pull up, and then the engine stall. The next stage of the cliche, because of course they do. But of course he manages to restart the engine. He's like, woo! And he started this database search for his mother, but the database comes back and says no sign of her found. And then he's tractor beamed, and there's a great big booming voiceover saying, Caleb, you're under arrest, blah, 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 blah. And he screams and gets angry. And he's like, I am not your prisoner! I am not your prisoner! Ugh. Fine. Cut. We go to Bajor. Remember Bajor? Of course you do. We go to the Little Blooms Education Centre. And Nala's there. And she's like teaching or kindergarten kids or something. And she's solving an ice cream dispute at that time with people that are not Bajoran. In fact, there don't appear to be any Bajorans on Bajor anymore from what I can tell. And then the Admiral from Discovery turns up, whose name I cannot remember at this particular moment in time. I'm just going to look it up. Because I'm going to have to look up these names anyway because none of them stuck. 4.9 on IMDb. Right. Here we go. Charles Vance. And he's like, I want you to be the Chancellor of a new school. A new school. So not the ones you were talking about earlier. And she says, weren't all the ships sent to the War College? Oh, and before this, actually, we get like some exposition with dialogue. Vance tells us that Holly Hunter quit Starfleet because of what happened earlier. And there's this really weird bit of ADR where he goes like, and then says something. And then we see him go, but it's exactly the same tone. It looks like ADR. I'm going to put it on here and leave you to judge for yourself. We'll get that past copyright at least.
It's been such a long time. It's been such a long time.
Says, oh, you had no choice. And she's agonising. Oh, it was reprehensible what we did. Well, no, she killed a Federation officer, and replicators. And it's just a horrible world. This isn't Star Trek. This isn't the world we were promised. Blah, 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 blah. And then she says, sorry, Charlie, I refuse. And he turns around and goes, we found Caleb alive. And instantly she's like, oh, I've changed my mind. Cut to her going to see Caleb. Caleb is fucking jacked. He's huge. Anyway, apparently he hacked the Imperial system and used programmable matter. Foreshadowing, not subtle foreshadowing either. And he says, he knows his shit. Yes, they're all swearing in this. And she says he has a one-of-a-kind mind, and she read his file, and then he squares up to her. Some quite good acting from Holly Hunter. She looks genuinely scared. She's a good actress. Just... And then she says Starfleet made a mistake, a catastrophic mistake, and that's why she quit. And she's been looking at him for him every day for the last 15 years. Lies! We saw you, like, just now, you were solving a fucking ice cream dispute in a kindergarten. You weren't looking for him. Anyway, she says basically there's some kind of treaty where low-level offenders can complete a sentence as service, i.e. Starfleet Academy. Federation is recruiting criminals. His mother apparently broke out of prison a year ago and then has vanished, and he's all upset because she hasn't contacted him on their special code. And Nala says, look, we'll go find her together at the school. And he's like, okay, cool. So they go off to orbit, and he's like, is that thing taking us to school? She's like, no, that is the school. And yeah, this is the Starship Athena. Cadets have to go on missions because there's no hollow rooms or anything like that. It's taking them into danger. And whatever, I don't care. Yeah, she's Chancellor again. She's Chancellor of the school. Back to Captain rank. 15 years out of the job. No pickup training required, apparently. Oh, well, whatever. They're wandering around. There's robots and drones everywhere. They run into the Jem'Hadar Klingon hybrid character, Laura Fock, played by some female comedian, Gina Yashir. And she is this Laura Fock character. She can't act. All she can do is shout. She's just awful.
6 months as interspecies vomit monitor and 200 push-ups. Now! I said now! Right now!
Yeah, she calls Caleb boy. Ooh, a little bit problematic there. I'm afraid you can't call black men boy. Anyway, she does that. She shouts him down and makes him do press-ups and orders him to latrine duty. Latrine duty? Come on, this is the fucking future! And he's doing press-ups, and I'm like, yeah, excellent, physical exercise, good. Not going to have any fatties in this, are we? Are we? Okay. Oh, this is painful. This is painful, guys. This is painful. She's like, humiliates him in front of everybody, calls the Klingon over, drop your gear on this idiot's back. Just like put your bag, like, idiot, back, now. This is Star Trek. Fuck me. There's no evolved sensibility. Everybody's crude and horrible and just, modern day. And this Klingon's like, I yearn for valiant life, not death. And anyway, Caleb gets up and she sends him to the appearance arch and off to get their medicals. And this Klingon is called Jaden. I'm not kidding. Jaden. Krag. So they step through the bullshit arch and they've already got haircuts and uniforms. So you just step through this arch and boom, it dresses you and gives you a haircut. All right, whatever. And then Caleb's like, motherfucker. And then it cuts, of course. Because there's plenty of shits in this, but they can't say fuck. I can. Fuck this show. Fuck Alex Kurtzman. Fuck New Trek. So they go to the medical. The doctor's grabbing them and he hypersprays. He's like, oh, you've got lungworm or whatever it is. And he goes to hyperspray him and Caleb goes to grab his arm, but goes through his arm, but he still hypersprays him. Whatever. And the doctor's being the doctor. Robert Picardo, he's just stepped back into the role. He smashed it. He's a good actor. He knows what he's doing. Not like what he's had to say recently, but he's a good actor. And yeah, he's still the doctor. And after Caleb, we get this fat white chick. And she's like, and literally, she's like some kind of fucking retarded mongoloid. She's like, I think I swallowed my comm badge.
I think I swallowed my comm badge.
Already?
Yeah.
Tricorder?
For a start, the comm badges are fucking huge because they're replicants of the ship. I think I swallowed my comm badge. And he's like, already? Oh, fuck the juvenile humour in this show. 1,300 years in the future. 1,300 years. We've already been shown by Gene, the Utopia, and by Star Trek shows like The Next Generation, and even Deep Space Nine, the kind of utopian ideals that Starfleet aspires to, the best of the best! And now we've got mongoloids and retards. Fuck me. Alright, anyway, so we go off to the bridge, and they go round the crew and introduce them all name by name. Might remember it in 5 minutes, doesn't make any difference. Ake on the ship, she doesn't address the crew in a way that's going to make you remember their names. It's just all very... But at least they have introduced them. I mean, in Discovery went 3 seasons before I even learnt somebody's name, and I gave up after 3 seasons. Apparently, there's a Lieutenant Rourke, who is an academic liaison, and she is a marshmallow. She is a fat marshmallow. She's never done physical exercise in her life. She's never done push-ups. What the fuck? Again, where's our ideals? We're told that people are struggling for food and stuff. This fat cunt's never struggled for food. So Aki does a big inspirational address to the crew, actually enunciates his words for a change, and then she curls up on the chair like a cat, and the Athena is off to Earth. 15 hours. So now we have some sequences where we're going to get to know the cadets. We start off with San, who's the kind of chunky black girl. She's a hologram, apparently. Why they made a hologram fat, I have no idea. Why they gave a hologram that hair, I have no idea. Anyway, she's standing in the corridor trying to greet people, trying to say hello to people. They're just walking past her. She's like, oh, I don't know what it is. She's trying different languages and stuff. And then this girl who's sitting down in the far corner starts up a conversation with her. This is Genesis Life, played by Bella Shepherd. She's pretty cool. She's like quite sort of witty, without being too acerbic and sarcastic, I suppose, is the way of saying it. And they do a bit of bonding. And her name, as I said, is Genesis. Genesis! And you get that bullshitty moment where Sam doesn't know how to shake hands with somebody, because apparently she's never shaken hands with somebody because it's fucking retarded, but look, he's funny, she can't shake her hands. Anyway, they do that and they walk off together and they bump into Krag, and he's got these binoculars. They fall to the floor, and then the whitest dude on the cast picks them up and starts being a bit of a twat. He starts taking them, and Krag's like, please give them back to me. He's like, no, I think not. And Krag's like, your challenge holds no value for me. A Klingon should just smack him in the face and break his jaw and take it back. But no, this is a pussy Klingon. And then Caleb comes up and sorts it out. They square, him and the white dude, Darab, I think his name is. Let's have a quick look. Yay for having IMDb. Darren Ramey. It's still been a bit of a cock and they're squaring up together. And he's like, oh, I'm going to be a captain. I'm the first Kionian in Starfleet. And Caleb's like, oh, I'm going to be the first one to make a Kionian cry. Darren's come from a place of privilege, basically. Anyway. And while they're all up in each other's face, the doctor turns up and he's like, I've noticed increased hormone levels or something. These students better hope they never have an orgy. The doctor's monitoring everything. I'm experiencing increased serotonin. Oh my God! Oh dear. Anyway, he's like, break it up. And they break it up. And the doctor disappears. And then Caleb and Krag are talking to each other. And he's like, they are for watching birds. My mother taught me to see the beauty in everything. Have you noticed how there are 0 dads, 0 father figures in this so far? 0. Anyway, off to another scene. So while the Athena is warping to Earth, they do this bit where it's like you select your specialisation, and it's exactly like an American college. There's like this foyer type thing with stands everywhere. Why is this such an anachronism? This is just, why is everything... It's okay to set a series reflecting some of the ideas from that time. So, obviously, you've got references in the original series, to the post-war, the Cold War, that kind of thing, and then you've got the 80s and all that kind of influence there. But it's not like they were running around going radical and groovy and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? They knew how to sensibly take the areas that Star Trek was trying to reflect upon and not make it obvious. This is just well, I've never been to one, but just in every single depiction of a movie that you've seen in American college, this is it. Or university or whatever. This is it. It's just that. It's just that. Anyway, so the doctor's trying to get everybody to sign up to opera, and nobody wants to sign up to opera. Sam walks up to him, and she's like, does some hero worship, and we get some background on her. She's basically a 4-month hologram that's been made to look 17 and sent to an academy. Why? Don't know. Part of a new life form. Okay, whatever. Hologram life forms now. Great. The doctor was already like an officer that broke his programming, so I think more like Crichton from Red Dwarf, and discovered new stuff. And now they've got this race of holograms. I just don't understand this character. Anyway, you've got this fat black girl hologram because, whatever. And because she's new, she's all awkward and autistic, and it's this horrible thing where Star Trek's like, oh, we need to make an autistic character. They made Spock autistic, and I've got a whole video coming, or planned at least for that anyway. And now this is the new one, so she's socially awkward and blah, 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 blah. There's somebody who is autistic. Just fuck off, please. Please, just fuck off and just, making it all to be some weird fucking joke. And she's this hologram walking around, so like, we don't know how the Doctor's being projected. He used to have obviously his mobile emitter in Voyager days. We can fairly assume that we're well beyond that. This is 1300 years in the future, and even though there's no food, we can assume that projectors aren't a problem. But more on that soon. So they're having a nice little chat between them. Doctor gives her loads of, not loads of, but some life advice. He's like, the reason you're awkward isn't because you're a hologram, it's because you're 17. Why have you been programmed to be 17? Don't know. But anyway. And there's loads of name dropping where she's like, oh, but you helped all the crew of the Voyager and cares and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whatever, don't care. All right, back to Caleb. He's firing a panel in a room, hacks it and hacks into the system, and he uses his special code that his mum gave him and checks the message box. There's nothing there. So he leaves her a message. Mum, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. I'm going off to Earth. And there's this little flashback. As he puts the code in, there's this little flashback to the scene where she gives him the code, in case you don't remember what happened literally 35 minutes ago. Anyway, and I'm sure there's absolutely no way that this will not result in anything bad. Genesis finds him leaving the message, and she's fun. She's like, oh, to get my silence, I want you to do this and this and this, and like hand feed me. And she's, she's actually quite a fun character. I don't mind her at the moment. She's the closest thing that I think I've seen to a Starfleet officer thus far. And the acting is also pretty good. This actress, I think she's fine, Bella Shepherd. And actually, for the record, I think Sandro Roster, who's playing Caleb, is also fine. Acting, apart from a couple of noticeable elements, has not been outwardly awful. Krag seems to be okay. Jaden Krag, fuck me. Holly Hunter is doing a fine actress. I just wish she wouldn't mumble. The only notable ones I would say, really, are Gina Shearer's Laura Fox. It's fucking awful. And I've got to say, I think Sam's not... I mean, she's obviously been made at that way. It's not very good, but if you've seen what Sam's actually, the actress, Keris Brooks, is actually like, with her flashing her grill and all her bling, like a proper gangster, then I'm like, well, it's pretty good acting. You've become somebody who isn't that. So I guess I've got to, say not bad. So the acting is reasonable. And obviously, as I said, Picardo just jumped straight back into the Doctor, so it's fine. So anyway, we're going to need to get through this, otherwise I'm going to go mad. So she likes the fact that he stuck up for Krark, and she walks off. Ake is tucked up in her chair reading a book, and I mean literally curled up in her chair like a cat. You remember when Picard or Spock or Kirk would be in their chair and they'd be always at attention waiting for a report. No, guys over in the corner start talking about stuff. It's not until they go Captain that she pays attention. Great example to set there, Ake, anyway. So now we basically go into that preview stage with everything that involves, and there's a couple of changes, but we know all the problems that happen there. So basically, they see this anomaly, drop out of warp, because apparently it's going to be something that can be learned from the Stellar Cartography Lab. All right, fair enough. Whatever. And it's a trap. It's a trap that Miss Bracker has set. We see the explosions. We see everything where she tries to blow them up with photon torpedoes. We see her order emergency evasive manoeuvres, even though she's been told that all the helm is unresponsive. We see her order all shields to front, even though the most recent attack came from behind, and there is nothing in front of them, and the ship is behind them. Not getting much confidence in Commander Ake, especially when she mumbles something. Oh, dear. But there is one change here. One thing she says is, back up the holocomms interface. She says that. Back up the holocomms interface on the bridge. Why? She sent her first officer off with her glasses that apparently she needs to go and round up some kids with her awful shouting acting. Just, your command decisions are questionable. They have a line where they say, programmable matter is interfering with the turrets, so we can't fire back. Then we get the scene of the Doctor, and he's like, explosion damaged emergency holo emitters. Okay? So we're really low on the staff with crew. Okay? You've just rerouted. You've just given holo communications priority to the bridge, and probably Sam's still running around. Okay? So they haven't got any holo crew or anything. Apparently none of the robots are trained in medical assistance or anything like that either. Whatever. So we get a scene where you see the crew waking up, and that's been extended. This whole sequence is extended. Laura Fock has been skewered. Unfortunately, she's not going to die. She's going to be in the second episode. I should mention, actually, that I watched the second episode first by mistake and didn't realise. Then watched this episode. So we get this bit like old foes coming together, Caleb and Darren. It's Darren, isn't it? I can't even remember names already. Darren. But not Darren. Darren would be too close. And him and Caleb working together. And they get Fock up, and she's, I'll walk. She's kind of taking charge, because she's the closest to a Starfleet officer. I'll transport to sick bay, and I can't transport her. We have to carry her to a near medical training room. Fox screaming a lot, and you've got that girl who swallowed her comm badge earlier. She's Katie Reddy Waters. This cadet, white. I don't know if she's human or not. No, she's just kind of fat and stupid, and she's running around going, "Red alert! Red alert! And she's on the credits as terrified cadet. Ugh. And Caleb's like, "Calm down. You don't need to say that. That's what the flashing red lights are for." She's like, "Oh, it's been a day." Oh, God. Anyway, Fox screaming in pain. And then Caleb's like, "Oh, I recognise the frequency of this programmable matter." It's very convenient. And all the lights go out. But then Sam touches the wall and all the lights come on, because Sam is a battery. And even though the emergency holo emitters are out, she's still there. Anyway, Genesis, she's very much in charge. So she's off there. And then they go to the medical room, and Fock is just directing them through the analysis, checking over the wounds and stuff. And then we go back to the bridge, and Paul Giamatti turns up as a hologram, because they can project that hologram. They can't project the doctors needed or anything like that. It's a good thing that Ake reinforced the holo communications. And even though Giamatti is a hologram, he's walking round things because the actor is there. So he doesn't walk through a console, he walks round the console. And it's so stupid. I don't know why they just didn't have this over a screen. The entire why? And then he's just walking around shit. It's like your hologram. Anyway, Giamatti's having fun. We get the whole origami chicken thing. Like, you're an alien. What the fuck is origami? What the fuck is a chicken? How does it translate? It's just and then we got the whole payback as a bitch thing. And what we do is we find out that Giamatti is there for the warp drive. Okay, it's as simple as that. And he reveals that it was Caleb, that, you know, sort of gave him away and replays Caleb's message to his mum. Holly Hunter, obviously being the consummate professional Starfleet captain's like, blow it out your ass. So once he finds out that Caleb gave him away, Darab goes for Caleb because obviously they're just immature, stupid, toxically masculine men. Genesis has to break them up and be the smart one, take charge. And yeah, Bracker wants the warp drive, and he's like, basically, we're going to go to engineering and we're going to cut them up. We're going to cut it up and transport it off because it's too big to transport off as it is. So we need access to your engineering. You can't eject warp cores anymore? Don't want to get them to eject the warp core and then you just take... No, you're just going to put everybody in the engine room. Okie dokie. Oh, I swear I've never watched Star Trek, the people who write this. So she's walking around with the hologram, like literally walking around with the hologram around the bridge. It's so dumb. And then when she gets back in her chair, it's like he goes to sit in the chair and she gets in the chair first and lounges over it. And then she blows the hologram away. Like literally, when it disappears. Oh. And the guy on the bridge goes, oh, program matter has merged with the ship. But that's okay because we've got Caleb. And Caleb can save them. Yay. Krag is flapping. He's just a fucking pussy. Oh, do not kill your instructor on the first day. Do not kill your instructor on the first day. And he's panicking and he needs to get a pep talk, and he gets a pep talk, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And we find out that Caleb needs to get a sample, or like a frequency, of the sample of the programmable matter on the ship. And they go to get a suit, and Fox like, you can't get a suit without having an instructor there, because the instructor needs to be paired to the suit, and you can only go out with an instructor. Whatever bullshit reason for not being able to have a suit. So they can't have a suit, and then Darab goes, I can go outside in a vacuum. I'm Kionian. Bitch, is actually what he says. And he can survive for 8 minutes. So off he goes, and Genesis goes with him. And he gets her to turn around, and he morphs into the sort of blue alien thing. Sort of like blue with scales, but it's all CGI. Where's, was it Michael Westmore who did the... Yeah. Was it Michael Westmore did all the practical effects for Star Trek and stuff like that? Can we not have him back? Because this CGI looks like bollocks. It's fucking awful. So he turns into this blue alien thing, and off he goes, just walks out. Just walks out the ship, walks out of the airlock, off he goes, stomp, 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 stomp. And we find out before this that her dad is a Starfleet admiral. My God, a dad got mentioned. Whoa. So we go back to the bridge, the fleet is 45 minutes away, and Aki's like, I wish I could beam them all into space. Hear that? Not I wish I could beam them to the brig, which presumably you would have, because it's a Starfleet, or a secure location, or anything like that. I wish I could beam them all into space. Murderous and bloodthirsty. Star Trek! Yay! Oh, God. So we cut back to Darab, who's freezing while he's scanning the matter. And while he's on his way, like, Caleb messages him. He's like, arsehole 1 to arsehole 2. And I'm just like, oh, I hate this. I hate this. So, yeah, he's off to go and get the program matter. And he's freezing to death as he's scanning it. And then, like, Jess is like, oh, I'm going to try and save him. She tries to overload the console using Laura Fox code. And it doesn't work because she hasn't got Laura Fox's voice. Oh, yeah, Nathan, just shout. Just shout like you can't act with no tonal difference in your words at all. It's pretty easy. Anyway, and she goes, oh, this is an emergency. And then the doctor shows up behind her. He's like, please state the nature of the medical emergency. Remember. So she gets his code to save Darab, and is like, this console doesn't have connections, so she's got to go running off to another console. So off she goes running to another console. Great, fine. It's nice to see people running about. None of the fatties, that's why they're fat. So she's running all over the place. Caleb's running all over the place. And Darab's like, look, I'm going to die. I'm not going to make it. And she's like, look, guys who die heroically are a turn off to me. And I like Genesis. I mean, she's white. Yeah, she's white. So Sam's being all autistic in the training medical room, and Fock gives us some more forced shitty humour with shitty acting. Crag's still being a pussy, but does the surgery. Darab freezes to death, but he gets tractor beamed by Genesis and pulled back through an airlock, presumably. And we find out that Aki's fates are to breach. Earlier, she said, like, I'll put the ship in Academy mode, that will buy us time, and set course for Rancom 6. It turns out the Rancom 6 is like a simulation of a warp core breach, and this Bracker falls for it. He's like, no, my scanners say the warp core's cold. She's like, if you want to take your chances, take your chances. It's like 5, 4. All the bridge crew are staying there. Nobody's evacuating. Nobody's getting out there. She does say, like, oh, all crew abandon ship, and nothing's happening. Oh, it's just bollocks. Anyway, they all fall for it and presumably beam back to the ship. Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But anyway, so that happens. The bad guys all fucks off, and then Caleb's like, right, okay, this is the moment. Right now is when I need to do this programmable matter and save the ship and unmerge the two. But no, Nus Bracker's there and points a gun to his head, and he says, I could always smell a lie or something like that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But you probably sent the rest of your crew back to your ship, didn't you? You'd been somewhere else on the ship. You went somewhere on the ship. You all guys went back to your ship. Because you're not very smart. And this ship doesn't seem to have any security personnel. No security personnel at all. Anyway, moving on. We all know what's going to happen. They have a fight. They have a big old fist and knife fight. Of course they do. And Caleb bounces Nus Bracker's head off of the console to activate the unmerging, whatever it is. And yeah, Paul Giamatti, he's great. He's a great actor. He's having so much fun with this. He's like, he's having loads of fun. But it's just so on Star Trek. It really is. Once Caleb bounces his head off and deactivates the thing, Ake's just like, destroy that ship. Blow the hell out of that ship. Not disable the ship, not disable its engines, not disable its weapons, just blow up the ship. Murder. Murder everybody! New Trek. Murder, bloodlust, violence and sex. Star Trek, people. Star Trek. So, yeah, murder's all there and they're all dead. And then Fatty turns around and goes, that's a teachable moment. Fuck you, Alex Kurtzman. So Bracker's like, no! And takes off in an escape pod. And nobody on the bridge goes, there's an escape pod, maybe we should get that. Nope. Off he goes. Unchallenged, unstopped. Bye. Yeah. That's it. They go on to San Francisco. The San Francisco song plays, sung by somebody. Don't know, don't care. We then see that there's a Chelonian walking around. Yeah, you remember those guys from Let That Be the Last Battlefield. We saw one in Section 31. They're just rubbing it in. So it's like, yeah, one of those. Either it's an Easter egg or they're just deliberately undoing one of the most poignant moments in the original series. I don't care. We go to Caleb's punishment and she's like, look, you should be expelled. You should be expelled for what you did. But you also saved the ship. And I want to say here, is anybody spotting a pattern? We know this is post-Discovery. And as much as I hate to recall Discovery, we all know that Michael Burnham did something bad and got put in jail. And then she got taken out of jail because she's amazing. And then she became the single most important person in the history of Starfleet and maybe the universe. Because she's responsible for everything. She's brilliant. She's Kirk, Spock, McCoy all rolled into one, has no weaknesses, and saves the universe time and time again. And she's also the reason that Spock became the man he was. I'm getting the same kind of vibes here. I get the feeling Caleb is going to like save everybody. Every time it's going to be like, how does Caleb become amazing this time? It's just Discovery all over again. Diverse character who has criminal past becomes amazing. Let's look at the white guys in this, shall we? Paul Giamatti is an alien, but characteristically white. Klingerite, I think they call him Klingerite. I think it's Klingerite, because he's a hybrid. The Klingon, I don't know what's happened to the Klingons, but they are hybridizing the shit out of everybody's Klingon hybrid. So yeah, that's one guy. We've got a white guy on the bridge who's like a lieutenant or something. We're not really seeing much of. And the other one's Darab, and he's not even a white guy. He's actually technically this Kyonian blue alien, CGI alien. So there's no white cadets really at all. We've got loads of diverse cadets. But yeah, I'm getting Discovery vibes already. As you would, it's same producers, same timeline. But yeah, it's going to be Caleb becoming the most important and specialist person ever. Anyway, his punishment ends up being something like restricted campus for 90 days with 100 hours menial labour. And she's like, if you stay, I'll help you find your mum. And he's like, I'll stay. And that's it. That's the end of episode 1 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Fucking hell, man. Painful bad writing. So many non-sequiturs. The writing is just trashed here. It really is. Which is a bit of a shame, really, because a couple of characters are okay, and some of the acting is generally quite good. The production values are fairly high, apart from that really bad CGI face. It's a mixed bag. It's a bad mixed bag. As I said earlier in the video, Section 31 remains the worst thing I've ever seen from Star Trek. This... It's hard. It's about on the same... No, I think it's a bit better than Discovery. I do think it's a bit better than Discovery. So far. It really bothers me how un-Star Trek this is. In this future, Federation citizens, they don't have enough food. We've got replicators. You even clarified that replicators can make food out of human shit. They can recycle proteins into edible food. So why? Why are you bringing down a Federation transport? Why is there a Federation transport with food on it? Why don't you just give them a fucking replicator? And this is the first 5 minutes of the show. And you fucked the entire concept that the show is built around. That Caleb and his mother had to be split up because she was stealing food. The fuck is wrong with you? And other than that, this is just not the enlightened future we were promised. Everybody's swearing, everything's miserable, explosions, bloodthirsty captains that blow up ships rather than trying to disable them. It's just more of the same. It's just more of the same. But this has been saved by a few kind of half-decent actors, I would say. But there's no Star Trek here. There is no Star Trek here. It sucks. So yeah, that's my end review. Slightly better than Colonoscopy. Episode 2 still to come. I bet you can't wait. Anyway, till then, I have been Critic, and I will be back with another video soon.